What's up, YouTube? It's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and I'm back with another top 10s video. Now, for people out there who don't know, I've already done my top 10 point guards for the upcoming season. I'll make sure I put a link in the description and a link for the annotation in the top right hand corner. Furthermore, I will be making a top 10 playlist, so make sure you go check that out as well if you feel like you missed any of my top 10s lists. Now, with that being said, people, let's get right into the list. Coming in at number 10, we have Gary Harris, starting guard for the Denver Nuggets, a player who shares a backcourt with Jamal Murray, and in my opinion, these are two of the most underrated guards in the NBA, as both of them are extremely efficient players, and unfortunately, I was not able to fit Jamal Murray in my point guard list. However, when it comes to Gary Harris, I do believe he fits the bill. Offensively, he can do a little bit of everything, and he's extremely efficient, as last year he flirted around with nearly having shooting splits of 50, 40, 90, and on top of that, he was giving you around 2 assists, 2 to 3 rebounds as well. And that level of efficiency, while scoring somewhere around 17 to 20 points this upcoming season, will be heavily needed for an organization whose identity is heavily based off of offense, and Gary Harris will definitely aid them in doing so. Now, Gary Harris is really not that good of a defender whatsoever, and I have a hunch that he more than likely won't be the first nor the second best player on this team, as I believe that Jamal Murray will take a huge step in this upcoming season, but still, Gary Harris will be a contributor on a team that I believe will make the playoffs. Now, coming in at number 9, we have CJ McCollum. McCollum is a starting shooting guard who's in the backcourt with Damian Lillard, who plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. CJ McCollum, very similar to Gary Harris, is an extremely efficient shooting guard who can score really anywhere he wants to on the court, especially in mid-range, as he has been one of the few players in the NBA who has been trying to keep the mid-range alive, and he's been doing it rather efficiently as well. The one thing that separates him from a lot of other players, though, who shoot the mid-range at an extremely high rate, is his ability to handle the ball while also being an efficient three-point shooter as well. And on top of the fact that he is the second scoring option on the team that more than likely will make the playoffs as well, as he has been a consistent 20-point scorer over the past couple of years, that is something that I do believe that he will continue to build off of. Now, when it comes to CJ McCollum, he's not going to be the best player on the team, nor is he going to give you an elite level defensive status, and many people may argue that he is a defensive liability. But nevertheless, he's only asked to do one thing, and that one thing is to score, and he does it extremely efficient, and to his credit, he does it rather consistently. Even when Damian Lillard struggles, regardless if it was in the beginning of the season last year or during the playoffs, CJ McCollum was always there giving you a solid 20 to 23 points on highly efficient shooting splits. Now, coming in at number 8, we have Devin Booker, star shooting guard for the Phoenix Suns, who actually may get some playing time at the point guard position, but I honestly believe he will be playing majority of his time at the shooting guard spot. Devin Booker has surprised a lot of people early in his career as being one of the premier scorers in the NBA. Extremely efficient all over the floor, can give you around 23 to 25 points. And on top of that, he's been able to build rather quickly on his ball handling abilities, and also has been given the role to be in the distributor as well. Now, he will have to continue to grow in that area because he's not someone who's going to give you somewhere around 7 to 8 assists, which if he's able to make that leap this year, then he definitely will jump over a lot of other players in my opinion, but nevertheless, he still has some growth in that department. Also, when it comes to his ability to play defense, it's lackluster for majority of the time, and he's not that consistent as a player. However, you can definitely make an argument if he is given another scoring option, which hopefully this upcoming season he will have in DeAndre Ayton. He will be a more consistent scorer, which is something that I would love to see from Devin Booker. But nevertheless, being a consistent 23 to 25 point scorer on great shooting splits is something not to overlook. Now, next up, we have DeMar DeRozan. This is where I know a lot of people will be upset, but hear me out. DeMar DeRozan, star shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors, has made the transition forcefully to the San Antonio Spurs. And even though it hasn't been stated, it's been heavily applied. The reason for this is largely due to the fact that DeMar DeRozan unfortunately just doesn't show up in very pivotal moments of his career. But nevertheless, DeMar DeRozan, he is a consistent mid-range assassin. He has the ability to post up, finish around the lane, and get to the free throw line rather consistently. Now, as we all know, he's not really that great of a three-point shooter, even though, yes, he has been working on it. He definitely is nowhere near in the same realm as a lot of players that I've already named, let alone the players that I have ahead of him. Then add on top of the fact that defensively, he just isn't that good either. And then you still have to take into account that when it comes to the playoffs, he consistently shrinks. So that's the biggest reason why I have him so low on this list. Now, when it comes to this upcoming season, because DeMar DeRozan is going to be playing on the team coached by Popovich, I highly doubt that he'll be isolating that much. And on top of that, he's going to have to share the mid-range area with LaMarcus Aldridge as well, which is why I don't believe that he's ever going to be able to go back to eclipsing around 25 points per game. And don't get me wrong, I definitely believe that he'll be a better defender, and on top of that, he will have a higher basketball IQ while being under the tutelage of Popovich. I still feel like DeMar DeRozan has so many massive holes in his game, it just doesn't make any sense for me to put him any higher. Coming up next, we have Bradley Beal. I know, people, you're going to be upset because how is Bradley Beal higher than DeMar DeRozan? Well, let me tell you why. Bradley Beal, star shooting guard for the Washington Wizards, and yes, I said star shooting guard for the Washington Wizards, over the past couple of years has consistently grown his game to the point where he has been a consistent 20 to 23 point scorer on extremely efficient shooting splits. And for people out there who say the only reason why Bradley Beal is extremely efficient is because John Wall creates his shots for him, you are vastly incorrect. Don't get me wrong, Bradley Beal does benefit from open looks after John Wall penetrates through the lane, but Bradley Beal is a way more complete player than I think a lot of people give him credit for. Bradley Beal has the ability to create his own shot, he's a solid rebounder, and on top of that, on the defensive end, he has definitely grown as a player as well. And on top of the fact that he is one of the more consistent players on this list, that's the reason why I have him higher than DeMar DeRozan. The only real knock on Bradley Beal is that he's not a first option such as a lot of other players ahead of him, if not nearly all of them. So that's a huge reason why I don't have him higher. But because Bradley Beal is so consistent, because he's so efficient, and because he's continued to grow his game, I do believe he will take another step in the right direction, which is why I have him higher than DeMar DeRozan. Coming up next, we have Donovan Mitchell, Rookie of the Year candidate last year. Donovan Mitchell surprised the NBA with his ability to adapt to the game so quickly, especially when it comes to his ability to score the basketball. He has a ridiculous vertical, and when it comes to his ability to create his own shot, that's something that he has consistently grown on over the past several months. And on top of the fact that when it comes to his three ball, it has already advanced way quicker than I think a lot of people were anticipating. You have one of the more complete players on this list regardless of his age. Also, when it comes to the defensive end, he's not an elite level defender, but definitely while being coached by Quinn Snyder and also being on a team with Rudy Gobert, defensively he can help out, and he has a rather high basketball IQ on the defensive end. He does still need to grow as a ball handler and a distributor, which is something that I feel like he will make the right steps this upcoming season. And on top of that, he does need to be a more consistent scorer as well, which is something that they will heavily be relying on him for the upcoming season. But the things that I saw in the first round of the playoffs while being matched up with some solid perimeter defenders such as Paul George in the Oklahoma City Thunder series, I have to say I'm rather impressed, and I think that this upcoming season, Donovan Mitchell will do nothing more but build off of the progression that we've seen so early on in his career. Coming in at number 4, we have Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, star shooting guard for the Golden State Warriors, arguably the second greatest three-point shooter the league has ever seen, behind his teammate Steph Curry. And you can definitely make an argument with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in the backcourt that they are one of the most dynamic backcourts the league has ever seen. Klay Thompson is one of those very special players in the NBA where not only is he a two-way player, but offensively, when he gets going, he's almost unstoppable. Last year and over the past couple of years now, he's been a consistent 18 to 20 point scorer on ridiculous shooting splits, especially from behind the arc, where he has been consistently shooting 40% or better. Not only that, Klay Thompson defensively, he is playing at an elite level. Furthermore, we take into consideration that he is extremely consistent, and on top of the fact that his basketball IQ is through the roof. And even though, yes, he's not a ball handler nor a distributor, he definitely makes up for that in all the other areas in his game. The only knock I have on Klay Thompson is that he can be rather inconsistent when Steph Curry isn't on the floor, so that's rather concerning. And also, he's not someone who's going to create a shot consistently, but that's not really his role. But when it comes to consistency, three-point threat, and defensive effort, you're definitely going to get all of that at an elite level with Klay Thompson. Coming in at number 3, we have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, star shooting guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and as of right now, we really don't know what team he's going to be playing for in the upcoming season, but nevertheless, you definitely are going to see a massive impact on the team that he's playing for, as Jimmy Butler is one of the better two-way players in the NBA, a consistent 20-plus scorer who has a knack for getting to the rim and can create his own shot around the mid-range area. Jimmy Butler has continuously grown his ability to shoot the three ball over the past several years, nowhere near on the same level as the players I have below him, and probably one of the worst three-point shooters on this list, but nevertheless can still shoot around 34 to 35% from behind the arc on a year-to-year basis. Not only that, you can argue that Jimmy Butler is the best defender on this list, and the only two players that would be in that conversation is Klay Thompson and Victor Oladipo. Furthermore, when it comes to Jimmy Butler, he does have an ability to handle the ball. I wouldn't necessarily call him a distributor, but he does feel comfortable handling the ball without turning it over at a ridiculous rate. The only real knock I have against Jimmy Butler is his impact on the team. Even though, yes, his teams have consistently made the playoffs, it does feel like Jimmy Butler can't be the best or possibly not even the second best player on your team if you want to compete against the Golden State Warriors. Nevertheless, though, Jimmy Butler is still one of the better shooting guards and one of the better two-way players in the league, and you can definitely make an argument that outside of the shooting guard position, that he is still one of the top 15 to 20 players in a very talented league. Going on to number 2, we have Victor Oladipo. I know, people, I'm biased, but I cannot lie to you. Last year, Victor Oladipo was astonishing. Victor Oladipo offensively took massive leaps and steps in the right direction, and he became an All-NBA performer, something I believe that he will continue to grow off of on this upcoming season, as Victor Oladipo is a consistent 20 to 23 point scorer, and hopefully we can eclipse 25 points this upcoming season. Jesus, I just said we as if I'm like his personal trainer. But Victor Oladipo has shown his ability to score the ball on a consistent basis. You can definitely make an argument when it comes to his ability to attack the rim and shoot the threes. He is of the elite level, and on top of that, he is an elite level defender. Made the all defensive team last year, and I feel like he will be in that same conversation for the upcoming season as well, and led the NBA in steals also. And if I had any form of criticism for Victor Oladipo or any area I would love to see him improve, it is his playmaking abilities, as it seems as if Victor Oladipo didn't feel too comfortable in that role last year, and he really didn't understand how to read defenses, especially when they were sending double teams in the playoffs. However, I do believe that is just a sign of someone who just entered a role that he's never received before, and I do believe he will continue to grow and become a better player. Now, coming in at number 1, we have, obviously, James Harden. I really don't think I have to go into that much explanation about James Harden, but just in case, James Harden is easily one of the most efficient players in the league that screams efficiency. James Harden over the past several years has been a consistent 25 to 30 point scorer, and I don't believe that will really change for the upcoming season. James Harden also is one of the premier playmakers as well, as he consistently has averaged around 8 to 10 assists, and again, I don't really think that's going to change either. Furthermore, James Harden is a player who consistently gets to the free throw line 10 plus times a game, and again, I don't think any of that is going to change whatsoever. Now, James Harden is not a perfect player, as he turns the ball over at a historic rate, and defensively, even though yes, I enjoyed the effort that I saw from him last year, but he's definitely not playing at an elite level. But aside for those two critiques, when it comes to James Harden, offensively he is amazing, and his ability to lead a team to 55 plus wins is something that would trump the two criticisms that constantly surround his career. Now, with that being said, people, please let me know what you feel about my list in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you can be updated when I upload my top 10 small forwards list. And until next time, I will see you all later. Peace.